What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Boots to Boots. We're here with four-time NHL Cup Stanley Cup Champion, Darren McCarty.
Good to be here, Steve.
Thanks for being
Thanks so much for being here.
Boots to Boots, what an honor.
Yeah, I mean, once we knew we were doing Boots to Boots here, we were like, we have to talk Darren. Obviously, we've known you for a long time now. You've transitioned from hockey and dabbled into pro wrestling. And so we wanted to know, have you always been a fan of wrestling? Like, did you always know you wanted to get into the business? How did this come about for you?
You know, it's funny to the fact that I look back and I understand why I didn't get into wrestling when I retired back in 2009, and it was more of a lifestyle issue, and I had to get my life together. But the fact is, I've always been a fan. You know, I mean, I was a Hulkamaniac growing up, and then Stone Cold came around. And used to, you know, Master Dan and won a bunch of cups with, used to be The Rock, and I used to go around beat him up. He used to hit Mike Canoe, we'd make him be Mankind, and we'd hit him with chairs all over the dressing room. So we were lucky at Joe Louis Arena too, like the great attitude area, they coming through, and you get to meet everybody and see everybody and stuff. So I've been a fan, always had been, but it wasn't until probably COVID where I started getting into the hardcore and the deathmatch wrestling and you know, and different stuff like that, and was like got educated. So good friend of mine, David Deonna, who owns ICW, gave me like a tutorial sort of how to watch deathmatch wrestling, because I'm a storyline guy, right? And you could get into the Japan shit stuff and going through and really realizing that it's like anything else. There's so many different stories. So I'm a fan of the stories. I don't have to like it. It's got to make sense. And then hence it's given me opportunities, you know, our mutual friend, Scott Demore, and who's Maple Leaf Pro and was GNA. So, I mean, what you're at the show, one of my bucket list items that I got to stun Bully Ray Dudley.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, and
I think a lot of people wanted to stun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I seem to get my hands on the guys that people want to get their hands on. So maybe that's why they keep me around the business. But no, which has led me to being around and understanding what I think I can offer to the business. And so that's why we have the Downtown Nursing Academy in Detroit and San Juan, Michigan, just outside, formerly the House of Truth. And it's to give the kids the opportunity. So I'm all about development, all about all the stuff that you see there's maybe a miss these days. And, you know, we've talked about it off the air. And it's just making everything better and taking away the excuses and giving these kids and adults who want the opportunity to get better and strive to get higher, taking the excuses out.
Yeah.
Taking the excuses out. So to be able to have friends like yourselves and everybody else in the business that truly wants wrestling to be better, right? It's at the end of the day. So I'm in Detroit, and that's what we're trying to do with all the young guys, and I just love it.
Yeah. No, it's awesome because I feel like in hockey you're reacting. Right? And I think that's such a big thing that is missing in wrestling is we shouldn't be acting, we should be reacting. And you're reacting to the crowd, and maybe you're reacting to a thing your opponent does and you didn't expect. And so I think that you could probably bring a lot of what you learned into hockey into wrestling. Yeah. What's that biggest thing that you try to take from your long career in hockey to your students?
Well, it's connection, right? It's always fan connection. And I think that I'm grateful to whatever is I have that connection with fans, not only Detroit fans, but the respect and how I play the game throughout. We're here in New Jersey and talking to Philly and Rangers and Jersey guys and stuff like this. And that's the cool part, because they have that respect of how you play the game. And one of those things is, I wish you were on my team. And it's like, that's the highest compliment. I think it's, you know, so I come from an era where you still knew there were some individual misnomers to the fact of characters, right? So I would consider myself a bit of a character. Most enforcer tough guys sort of are, but the synergy is like the give back, the compassion, and being able to. So now with the wrestling, it's the people that I can notice in the crowd I can play to.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to play to when you're on the ice, right? But in wrestling,
smart way to go.
Can.
That's how people fall in love with you, and they respect you for that too.
Well, they really and as I think what you learn too is that people, they come invested in people. They don't invest in the character or whatever else, but they either want to see you get your ass kicked, or they want to see you being the ultimate, hero or baby face and save the day. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of synergies with hockey.
We talk about that at home with football season right now, and there's a lot of young kids on these NFL teams coming up. And like, I'm a Patriots fan, have been since I was young. But there's like Scattaboo on the Giants right now that his personality
It's just energy.
makes me
Yes.
love him.
It's something that's just been missed in the game. I'm sure.
Physicality.
Exactly. That's what it is, though. It's that energy, and it's just like you're just gravitated to it, and it's just something that just I love to watch as a player, especially watching hockey. I always grew up loving fights, so loving the enforcers, and I love the similarity. A lot of the times, I watch the documentary Ice Guardians, and they talk about that documentary of how the enforcers very much militaristic and the mindset that you have to have, because you're out there protecting your brothers, and you're putting your body on the line no matter what, and setting the tone. Like, no, this is my team, this is my brotherhood. And for me, I love watching that and seeing that, because it's the same thing. We have a lot of similarities between you being an enforcer in the NHL and then being a professional wrestler. It just
the things that you also too with that military, because the bottom line to be great at the job is everybody else is more important to you than you are to yourself. And it's that sacrifice, and everyone that you see here at the Heroes Cup or whatever that have battled for, like Dennis Bond was here, he chased me on the bench back in June 33 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And then I took an instigator penalty out of him, and he's still laughing at me for it, right? Like, I'm smarter than you. Like, so that stuff still plays sort of in, just like in the wrestling world.
Yeah, well, so Boots to Boots, the idea behind it was talking about these transitions that we all go through, and the identity crisis when we have to retire from our sport or we retire from our job. And so what was it like for you to then transition out of hockey? And I know you kind of fell into another role really quick, but what was it like the next day when you're like, wow, I'm not putting the skates back on?
For me, it was tough, right? So anybody who knows me, 11/11 this year, 2025 will be 10 years sober. It's been a battle at different times. And I'm the type that, like, from 96 to 06, I was sober. And so I can put different time in, but what you really find, and I import anybody else, is don't lie to the person in there, right? To good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. And for me, it almost cost me my life. But thankfully and I always say this, right? It was through the love of a woman to show me that I deserve to love myself.
It seems to be the ongoing
like that, right? So I have mine's name's Cheryl, and she's a doctor, and but it was that I deserve to love myself, because that was what was missing. So for me, that was my journey, and once I got into that, then I could follow passion, right? So I do so many different things. I go to wrestling school. I have a cannabis grant, because cannabis is a big part of my
which is something I want to know.
recovery and stuff like this. And a lot of us guys are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and so that has helped. I'm an alcoholic insomniac, so the fact of with the CBNs and to be able to sleep. So now I have a brand in Michigan that has the topicals and the cannabis and all that stuff that helps me in my recovery, and also helps other people in that. And I'm like I said, you saw what I would do for a team sleeper. Now imagine what I would do for something that saved my life. So my transition is just being transparent that it's okay not to be okay. Like when you want to stay, because my thing was, okay, if I'm going to get up, get out of my way. And here we are today. So it isn't, and I think that for you guys to do that and say that, like, it's almost making it the norm, or if it is more of the norm that you are going to struggle mentally or physically, because it's a lot of injury. A lot of us, like at the end of my career, I was physically done and couldn't do it again. That's why, now, and I retired in 2009. So now in the past, 5 or 6 years to be able to get in the wrestling ring and to do dumb stuff like that, go through tables and take bumps and, play with glass. And like, to me, it still feeds that monster, but it's on what I love is it's that we're all in on it, right? So it's all about, like, my favorite thing about wrestling is the fact that you're out there and you beat the crap out of each other and you're taking it to whatever level it has to be. And then after you're backstage, I see two combatants hugging it out, talking about, man, we got him. We had him 2 minutes in, bro. Oh yeah, you adjusted this and we went that. And then, yeah, because then I said, yeah, when you said taking, hey, let's skip this and take it to that, I was right with you, bro. And to me, like, because that's the process. That's the story, the heart and whatever. And when you can touch that fan and like, that's why, like I was telling you guys both that last, like, I love the old Memphis walk and talk and when the kids, and so a lot of the like different promotions and being able to see that and to hear how wrestling and hockey, there's so many synergies.
Yeah.
Synergies to it. So
you guys were talking about that last night on the bus going to dinner with like, oh, we all fought each other. At some point, we all beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I made a comment that I threw my hockey bag in the van on top of George the Rock's hockey bag because it's the only time I get over hockey. Yeah, right. That's it. No, so but then at the end of the day, what it matters, and because how I keep score is championships, and I got 4.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So like, you know, the old stats are cool and stuff like this, but you know, the thing I'm most proud of is that I never missed a playoff game and have 4 cups with the guys that I knew.
Hell yeah. Just before we wrap up here, touching on cannabis.
Yeah.
And you've been really outspoken about how that's helped your recovery. And so if there was, someone who was looking to get into cannabis or wasn't sure about using that as method for recovery, what advice could you give them? How could you point them in the right direction?
100% it's education, man. So it's education on what are you trying to accomplish? Is it a pain thing? Is it a CBD, like for me, and then take everybody down the CBD trail, right? Because the CBDs, anything with the C in it, the G's, the B's, the N's, is it doesn't get you high. When it gets your system working, your endocannabinoid. Why did I start out with a CBD topical, and why do I have like a topical for pain? Because in the wrestling and in the high, it's like if I can show you and say, oh, my elbow hurts, and I said, well, rub this on, it's not going to get you high or whatever. And 2 minutes later, I'm like, how's your elbow? And you're like, what do you mean? It's not like it makes it feel any better, but it makes that itch go away. And you're like, how does that happen? Then we start a conversation about your endocannabinoid system. And to me, it's common sense. You have a system in your body that is strictly for this plant. End of story. God put this, like, end of story. Like, why would it be there if it wasn't? So now with education, and that's my greatest backbone. There's a guy that's playing out here named Riley Cote, who's a huge integral part, him and Scott Parker, in helping me initially on my journey and being educated by the right people. So, the education's there. Ask questions, right? To whatever. Don't be scared of it. It's not this that we grew up as a Gen Xer. Like I grew up, you were either an athlete or a stoner. We couldn't be both. And yet, from my journey, realized that if I would have had a relationship with the plant a lot earlier, I wouldn't have gone through a lot of things that I didn't need to. Now, I realize I've gone through them to be able to be a messenger for that. But to me is that I live by the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, except my program has a garden. And that might be something that anybody out there can ask questions for. Like it's become educated on, and then it's, because it saved my life. It's changed many loved ones, many older people, grandparents, parents before they passed on. Was able to get my father-in-law for 8 of his 9 Alzheimer's pills with cannabis and had to enjoy. Yeah, so to me, and maybe it's not for everybody, but the respect and the education that you can do for yourself is what you own yourself. And it's like anything else. Don't tell me what, tell me who you get your information from, who's producing your product, and that's so much more important. The easiest way to say it is like everybody's into vegan and vegetarian and eating healthy and vitamins and stuff. This is just another tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Do you have another game to get to?
I do. A few, right? Hey, listen, there's no beer league or there's no men's league. That's a sour cap for me, but I'll do anything for charity. And here we go.
Yes, and a good one at that. We're so proud to be here at Tunnel Tower Heroes Hockey. And thank you so much, Darren.
Always.
Thank
you very much.
So much.
Thank you, bro. Dish, love you too, my man.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Please like, subscribe, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Roots to Boots. We'll be talking to you.
Addy, soldier.
It's where you